it, figured it out. Who doesn't need more work on embracing horse? Specifically because I said, if you had one-stop shopping, one posture, one thing that was going to help your Tai Chi, even if you only have 1 minute and 3 square feet to do it, it's embracing horse. I don't know about you, but particularly all the way up through my colored sash journey, I never felt like I had embracing horse. And as soon as I thought that I had it, an instructor would come around and make an adjustment, and I'd be like, oh, that's completely different. Now I don't understand anything. So it was, I'd get it, oh, I don't got it. So maybe that resonates with you, which kind of goes back to who wouldn't benefit from some more talk about embracing horse. So let's talk about it. Okay, so you heard me today say, I'm going to go ahead and get into my embracing horse. You can join me. You can get in yours if you'd like. Yes, I am rooted. I am really stable in my lower body. There is a tendency to step too wide, make it really like a horse stance. That's not, it's more of a Kung Fu thing, not so much a Tai Chi thing. So as a brand new beginner, the tendency is to step too wide. It takes a while to understand really what shoulder width is for you. Chances are you tend to step wider than what your actual shoulders are. So like if my shoulders are here, I'm already stepping wider than shoulder width. So it's narrower than you probably think when you're first starting out, okay? And that's an important point because if your feet aren't right, all the other stuff is going to feel weird too. The other alignment requirements or rules will not feel good and will feel forced or put pressure on joints if the feet aren't right. So number one, check the distance of your feet and really get to know what shoulder width is for you. Again, you can't copy your classmates when you're here in person because everybody's different height, different shoulders, broadness, narrowness, it's all different. So you have to really just get comfortable with figuring out what that is for yourself and then not worrying about it not looking like everyone else. And then obviously we will help you, navigate that. Okay, so you get your feet shoulder width apart and get those outside edges of the feet parallel. You're going to bend your knees, but you're not going to bend your knees so they come forward over your toes. You're going to bend so that your seat is behind you, like you're about to sit into a chair that's being pushed up behind you, while rounding the knees out. But rounding the knees out just means this. It does not mean this. That does not feel good. And notice my feet start to lose contact with the floor. So it's a sensation of rounded out to prevent collapsed knees. It's not rounding out so that you're, rolling them out and putting a lot of pressure in your hips, okay? So I'm sitting back, I've got my tuck. I'll show you what that looks like. Got my tuck, meaning I'm not here. Tuck. And then we say lean forward. Well, I'm not really leaning forward. I'm folding proportionately with how far I'm sitting back. And by the way, if you're doing embracing horse on here, just come out of it as needed. Like give your legs a break. I mean, if you want to really listen and do it, great. But take breaks, because I know I'm talking a lot. All right, so shoulder width. I sink. If I keep a high posture, and I'm not sinking very far, which is completely okay if this is what your body will let you do, notice I'm not doing this, right? That's not right. I sit back. That's about all I would do at this height. Now, if my seat goes farther behind me, notice what happens to my upper body. It naturally folds to compensate, or to match it, to counterbalance it, right? So this isn't right. I lose my tuck, and my knees then shoot forward. But also, this isn't right either. So as with everything with Tai Chi, it's proportional. So what you do on any given day is going to dictate, like an upper body that you did here is not going to work if I'm doing high, because now I'm just bent over. Lots of moving parts, and you didn't think there would be that much with just standing still, but there is. So hopefully this is kind of starting to plant some ideas as to, well, why are some people leaned and other people not? And some people even try to lean back. Like, that's not right, because you tuck. If I keep my tuck, I can't really lean back. So lots of moving pieces. So for you, on any given day, what you want to think about is head suspended first. You want to think about what shoulder width is in your feet for you. You want to think about sitting down with that tuck at whatever distance or depth you're able to do on any given day. Provided that your knees aren't shooting forward over your toes, you keep your tuck so you're not hip hinging and leaning over. It's an accordion kind of sensation. What I mean by that is, so here I am going to get into my embracing horse. And watch the proportion, watch how it all happens together. And it takes it takes a bit to get, like, is this right? Am I comfortable? I got to do a little adjustment with my feet there. Yeah, that feels about right for me today. Sometimes, if my knees aren't happy, I'm more like here. Notice I've sat up a little bit, my seats come forward a little bit. Now, for really experienced practitioners, you will see them step a little farther than shoulder width because they're able to hold something much bigger for a while. Don't recommend that as a beginner, but if you see other people with more experience doing that, that's why you're seeing that. I wouldn't try to imitate that just yet because that comes with experience. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about is that rooted versus light, buoyant idea. This isn't exactly the head suspended for Neikung, but you hear the 10 important points. The first one is head light and swift as if suspended from above. Light and swift is super important with Tai Chi because you can start to feel really heavy, and really strained in embracing horse, and that's not what it's supposed to feel like. It's very much supposed to feel rooted. Yes, your legs, they're working, but from here up, light. It's just like if there were water coming, I could feel myself bobbing along with that. There's a relaxation, and I know I've used the word buoyant, even in the knees. I mean, I'm not locking these knees. I'm gonna keep them right here. I'm rooted, but if somebody pushed on me, there's some give to them versus trying to resist it. So even though you're holding a posture and your legs are working really hard, think softness, think suppleness, not rigidity. Think grounded but agile. This is a very agile pose. It's not a static, that's not sustainable. That hurts. You can't breathe. It's not relaxing. And this is really a meditative stance. In Asian cultures, there's a lot of standing meditations. We think of meditation as a seated activity, but this is designed to be a meditative posture. So let's go ahead and get into it for a little bit. And pick a couple of things that you found helpful or useful. It's okay, actually, if you start to vibrate a little bit or feel like you're bouncing a little bit, you can't force it, but if that happens, you're on the right track. That's a good sign. And I hear a lot about, what do we do with these arms? It's difficult. Again, sink shoulders, drop elbows. So the elbows should not be up. They're going to be down, but they're not down. It's down, right? Straight but not straight, bent but not bent. There's always a yes but. A very advanced concept about your shoulders in this, which is, I'm just planting seeds. This is not something that you are expected to grasp or be able to do. I'm not sure I do. I just think about it. The idea is you're floating the head of your humerus, your shoulder bone. You're floating your arm bone in that socket. So that's kind of what the purpose of the arm position is. I'm giving it equal space in that joint capsule. And you can't, I'm not an MRI, I can't see inside my shoulder, but it's thinking about that. So I'm not using muscles to hold my arm out. I'm trying to imagine giving as much space and float inside my shoulder joint as I can. And if I'm all the way out here using these muscles and holding this out, I can't do that. Or if I've shrugged my shoulders, I can't do that. So I'm relaxed, I'm extended, I'm alert. You remember plant leaves, I'm not, but I'm also not wrought iron either. And So where my elbows go, for me, I'm trying to find that spot where it feels the most space in the actual shoulder capsule. That's kind of a far out concept, but that helps inform me what to do with my arms. We will come around in beginner class and constantly lower the elbows for you, and we do that because otherwise this tends to be what happens, is they're way up here, and so we'd rather them start here and then gradually find their way to what the correct level is than have them way up here and your head's not, your neck is all crunched up and we'd rather work up to it than have it too exaggerated and try to then bring it down. So, we're a little bit over time, but let's take 30 seconds and go into a bracing horse together. Hopefully this gives you some food for thought, since we don't have the ability to come around and correct and make adjustments on each of you at home. You have some stuff to kind of self-analyze, either in a mirror or have someone take a picture or video yourself. You can send us your pictures of yourself and we can give you some feedback if that's helpful for you. Happy to do it. And again, like I said, in these crazy times, if you can't get out of your house or you don't have a lot of space, if you can dedicate 30 seconds to a couple of minutes of this, the results will be profound, both in your relaxation, your weight-bearing exercise, and your Tai Chi practice in general. And release, straighten the legs, lower the hands. Circle the arms up, inhale, press the palms down to exhale. I know that was a lot of instruction, but the benefit of a video is we can share those verbal instructions with you, and you can hit pause and practice on your own however you need. So we have the ability to do that without wasting necessarily your practice time. In class, we'd rather see you doing Tai Chi than talking about Tai Chi, but the circumstances now are a little bit different. So I hope that was helpful. We will see you in class, possibly a few of you here in person next week, but definitely here online. And I don't know what the new rotation will be. This week would have been graduation and testing. We're not doing that for obvious reasons. Hopefully we can pick that up again in June, but we'll just have to see how things go. With that, let's go ahead and bow out of our Black Sash training. There will be a new life skill next week, so this is the last week for the leopard, and we'll slow down and go from the beginning and make sure everyone kind of sees what the next life skill is. I don't exactly remember what it is off the top of my head, but I'll know next week. I have my list in my office. All right, let's go. The path of self-mastery requires a focused mind. A focused mind sees no obstacles. The path of self-mastery requires a focused mind. A focused mind sees no obstacles. The path of self-mastery requires a focused mind. A focused mind sees no obstacles.